Netflix finally premiered With Love, Meghan this week, the new show from Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and fans worldwide have rejoiced. We have had a wonderful time watching the show this week, recapping it. We did that wonderful First Impressions live stream, which was so much fun. Y'all be having me cracking up. I absolutely love when we get a chance to sit around and have our kitchen table talk. That's a great time. Moving forward, before I do recaps, we're definitely doing First Impressions live streams. That is a staple now. However, as always, if Meghan's name is on it, you already know critics, those disgusting cretins, will crawl out from under the rocks they inhabit just to offer some sort of criticism to the zeitgeist. It's what they do. Nobody values their criticism. Nobody cares. We already know what their plan is. We just ignore them. But the fact that critics are panning the show and even having their trolls go over and rate it negatively across all the internet rating platforms, fans and the Netflix audience globally have come out to support the show. The media has actually fallen in love with Meghan all over again, and this week has been so much fun to see all the amazing positive headlines coming out, not only about the show, but about Meghan and Harry. First, we have to talk about Meghan's appearance on the Barrymore show. There was so much to talk about. I really enjoyed that interview. It was so heartwarming. I actually caught myself grinning the whole time. I was just smiling. It was beautiful. And I love Barrymore. She can do no wrong in my eyes. And of course, you know, I'm a huge fan of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. So to see my two gals together, that was a good time today. And then after we dissect that interview, I have to talk to you guys about the amazing positive press that With Love, Meghan has garnered. At first glance, it may appear that critics panned With Love, Meghan. But like I always say, consider the source. Because once you get past the sponsored posts on Google, you know, the ones that are paid to go to the top so that you can see their clickbait, the people who have been incentivizing hate against Meghan for years, and you get to the real feedback and the real essays and the real articles about the show, they're all positive. And so today, I wanted to share my favorite articles written about With Love, Meghan, and I had a long task of trying to pick my favorite 5. There were so many. So let's get started.
You're just bookended and flanked by the two of us.
Just surrounded by love.
Yes, ma'am. You are absolutely surrounded by love, and you deserve. As for everyone else, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Meghan's appearance on the Barrymore show, as well as several positive articles talking about With Love, Meghan from a more honest perspective. Now, again, we disregard critics over here because it is their job to whine and complain and poke holes in things and look for drama. And that's not what we're about over here. We're all about honesty, integrity, transparency, and being as unbiased as possible. It just so happens the people that we support are actually good people, and I only have positive things to say about them. Before we get into today's show, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us.
Thoughtfulness, behavior,
How we show up for each other.
I like to connect.
I've heard you like to connect.
Octopus,
you know, I
I
think it's
really
really
do.
important. We've missed human connection, certainly after the pandemic and everything else.
We
And so I
crave
think
that.
about with the show, certainly what hospitality has felt like for me is how do you make people feel comfortable? Yes, you belong here, and let's all have fun with it and not take it too seriously, but see each other.
You do make life really beautiful. Like the homemade kids party.
Oh, that was fun with me. And then you just get to play, and you're in the kitchen playing and making mistakes and having fun together. And I think that's what I'm hoping translates.
Can I tell you?
So I can only speak for myself. But according to myself, my non-expertise, but according to myself and the people that I've spoken to, it just so happens I spoke to a couple thousand people. But according to us, that absolutely translated. I felt like the vibes translated through the screen. I mentioned it during my First Impressions live stream that It felt like it lit up my house. It felt like my whole house came alive. I love when shows do that. Another show that nails it with that is Property Brothers. It just lights up the house, as well as Insecure does that for me. Living Single. There are a few shows out there that when I turn them on, the whole house comes alive. It feels like I'm not by myself, or it just feels like there's good vibes. I can now add With Love Meghan to that roster. And that is a very exclusive roster. I mean, you heard some of the names I just said, right? So you know that that's an exclusive roster. But aside from that, I just want to focus on the production real quick. The vibes came through because Netflix and Archewell Productions nailed it on several elements. The sound, the color grading, the brightness, the volume, the music was perfect. So upbeat, so light, so fun and fluffy, but also I love the little ratchet tunes we had filtered in there. That fed my soul. That was for me specifically. I will die on that hill. That was specifically for me. And Daniel Martin mentioned, he's like, I'm your only ratchet friend. Well, according to Daniel, he's your only ratchet friend for now. But if you are taking applications, Meghan, I'm happy to be ratchet friend number 2. Just let me know, girl. It doesn't even matter what I got to do. Let me know. I'll submit my application as soon as possible. But no, the music was fun. The color grading, the softness of the dialogue between the hostess with the mostest and her guest. All of those things matter because I am one who will get sensory overload. And if I get sensory overload, I really can't focus on the content. So production quality, A++. As far as the hostess with the mostest and her guest, A++ times 10. I felt like everybody just made it fun to watch. And you have to keep in mind, we're learning so much. Recipes, we're watching food handling, we're watching preparation for parties and events, hosting, welcoming guests, which is already kind of a hectic thing. So to see Meghan go about it in a way that was not rushed, not impatient, not anxious, for me, that is a new way to roll, because when I'm having guests, I'm running down 17 lists mentally. Even when I'm prepared, I feel like I forgot something important. And because I know a bunch of gossips, I try my best not to mess up on anything when they come to my house. But no, seeing how she went about it, even when she was pressed for time, the way that she just kind of flowed into, well, you know what? I'll just make a quick fruit parfait because I'm running out of time. Or, hey, we got to have something to feed Mindy. And the way she put all of that amazing stuff together, part of that spread, and so quickly, that's the kind of stuff I want to see, because most people don't have all day and night to prep the day before or a couple of days before. Most of us work full time. Most of us are in school. Most of us have children. And so when we're having guests, we only have a finite amount of time to do the prep. So I love that Meghan showed us examples of how she preps when she has a long time to plan and implement, and when she has a short amount of time to plan and implement. I love that we got a variety of hosting guests, welcoming people. So we're learning a lot. We're being exposed to a lot. There's a lot going on. But the fact that throughout all of it, it's just simply enjoyable to watch. There's no anxiousness, which, mind you, she's doing somewhat anxious activities, because sometimes when you're cooking and you're in a rush or you're cooking for someone else, you have a lot of stuff you got to do. You got a lot of things to check off in your mind. The fact that she was able to do that, make it enjoyable to watch, make it enjoyable to serve her guests and help her guests. At one point, she was even like, I'm already plating your food. I can't help it. Like, the vibes were absolutely vibing. So I'm glad to hear that her motivation was for the connection and the coming together, and the welcoming of it all was the real root of this, and how to welcome people and make people feel welcome and loved and seen and cared for. I love that that was her motivation, because she knocked that out of the park. It just so happens that beyond her motivation, we got so much more in the process.
They're so hot for each other. Every time I see a photo of you, you're holding hands, you're kissing, you are so affectionate, so much.
So he's very lovable. He's easy to love.
To meet his mom when I was 7 years old.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have a picture actually that I'll get. It's upstairs.
Oh yeah, you have to share that with me so I can show him.
And he found you.
I mean, look, life is full of surprises. I did not expect to meet H, and for this to be our love story. And I'm very lucky. I am married to the funniest, sweetest, most charming, an amazing father. And so, one of my blessings, because I have him, and also I have a partner who is so supportive of me. We have this connection, I think, because we're so committed to treating each other the same way you did before you had a ring on it, before it was.
I really enjoyed this segment. Meghan spoke about Harry in such a way that you might not remember that they've been married for quite some time now. She sounded like a teenager in love, and I'm not surprised. Drew Barrymore was absolutely right when she said they are clearly hot for each other. Tyler Perry kind of alluded to the same thing, that they are very, very, very much in love. And something that I noticed in the way that both of them speak about the other and their relationship is they both see love as a verb as well as a state of being. And that's necessary when you want your relationship to work. I've been with my husband for 12 years. We've been married for 8 years. And I always say we forget how long we've been together because it still feels like we're dating. We still go out and date. We still crack jokes with each other. We still flirt and do those things. It's important. I also personally feel like when you marry someone you're equally yoked with and you marry someone that you like, you do those things naturally. And one of the things that people can forget, when you get married, it's for forever. And I think people forget how long forever actually is. Because in the moment, you're only getting to the next milestone right at the beginning. So when you first start dating, you're getting to the first kiss. You get to the first kiss, you get to the, are you going to be my boo? Are you going to be my girlfriend? Whatever. When you get to that, you get to meet the family. Then you get to that, you get very serious. Then you get serious, then you get engaged. Then you get engaged, you're looking forward to the wedding. Then you get to the wedding, you're looking forward to the marriage. Once you start the marriage, then you're looking forward to the kids. And once you start the kids, and you're starting to build your career. You always have something in front of you, which keeps it exciting. But once you plateau and some of those things slow down because you've ticked them off your box or you've accomplished them, once those things slow down, the habit can form of just kind of taking a breather. Just like, okay, low effort. Don't fall for that trap. Now, I'm no wedding or marriage or relationship expert by any means, but something that I can say, being around a lot of couples who have made it and being around a lot of couples who have not, you cannot take your foot off the gas when it comes to exercising love as a verb. And whatever that means for you, you might not be the picnic type of person or the glass of champagne type of person. You might genuinely be the, let's watch a movie on Friday, just us. Let's put the kids to bed and let's stay up an extra hour and a half and watch a movie and eat snacks and drink a glass of wine and have fun. Like whatever it is for you and your partner, what is your love language? What is their love language? And incorporate those things into your date and keep dating. It's not only good to keep the relationship alive, but it's also fun for you. So when you're married to someone you actually like and you actually love, that's enjoyable to keep dating them. It's enjoyable to see a smile on their face. It's enjoyable to surprise them with a gift. It's enjoyable to see them come through the door or see them on the couch when you come through the door. It's enjoyable to do things together. Something that Meghan mentioned in this segment was that she and Harry, no matter what they are doing, make sure to have lunch together every day. It's those rituals that build long-term stability in relationships. It seems small. It's like, oh, it's just lunch. But notice what she said. It's a break in the middle of the day. They get updated and they reconnect. They stay connected all day. That's necessary. Imagine how many people you talk to during the day, I talk to during the day, how many phone calls you take, how many different ways you're being pulled in your day-to-day. And if you have children, add that times 10. It's important to have those quiet moments with your partner to remember that no matter what else is going on around us, no matter what we have built, no matter what we've created, no matter what we've begun, no matter what we've established, at its core, it is always just us. I actually see this as kind of an extension of something that they said in Harry and Meghan, the docuseries, when Meghan said she and Harry kind of have this way of no matter what is going on, the pomp and circumstance, lots and lots of people, it's noise, it's all kinds of stuff, overstimulation times 10, no matter what's going on, they have a way of always finding each other in the crowd, and it calms them both. This is another extension of that. They come back together to find their calm, essentially to ground together, and then they go back into their individual stuff. I can imagine that that plays a huge role in how they stay connected. And she also mentioned that they love doing the drop-offs and the pickups together. So it seems like, again, those things seem like very small, but they're actually huge and they're very impactful and they're very endearing. Staying connected, no matter what is going on, will get you through so much. And it's great to know that you have a partner who supports you. Something Meghan also noted, she said, and he supports me. Also, she is a mom through and through, because the first thing she complimented him on was how great of a dad he is. And then she was like, and he supports me. I love that she said she counts her blessings. Do you know how well you have to be loved for your partner to make you feel like you are counting your blessings? Like I said before, there is not enough positive displays of love and connection, healthy relationships, love and connection in the media. There's actually, I feel, an overabundance of the opposite. I feel like there's so much content pertaining to divorce and breakups and toxicity and situationships and ethical non-monogamy, which again, whatever your thing is, by all means, enjoy that. And I do feel like every type of healthy relationship, ethical relationship, let me make sure I'm being clear on that. Every type of healthy and ethical relationship should be represented because everyone should see themselves represented in a healthy way. But I do feel like in the last decade or so, there has just been this shift in the tide against healthy marriages. And not every marriage is healthy, but we could depict more healthy marriages on TV or movies or essentially or what have you, in media, I should say, because those of us who are happily married, it's possible. And I'm in no way an example to people. I'm no way, follow me, I know the way. Child, we getting through it day to day. We just have to be getting through it, holding hands and fully in love with each other. But, I'm no preacher. I can't tell you what to do. I can say what works for us. But again, there are only going to be so many similarities between two different couples because there's only so many similarities between two different people. So it's important to find your thing. It's important for your partner to find their thing. Y'all's relationship has to be dependent upon what makes you happy as a couple and what makes you stronger. Those rituals that build you up over time and not break down when things get tough. You lean back into those rituals, those little reminders that say, no matter what, it's still just us. It's always going to be just us. There was a moment in my wedding. First of all, we planned our wedding for 75 people and we ended up having well over 200. And it was a big change and it was a lot going on. Our wedding planners, as nice as they were, they did a terrible job. They didn't keep anything on track. They lost our centerpieces. It was a lot going on. And there were several moments, and it was hot in that museum. There were several moments where I was getting overwhelmed. My edges were beginning to snatch back. And at one point, my corset was killing me. It was digging into my skin. And my husband was like, hey, let's go downstairs. And we go downstairs to the little security room that was kind of tucked off behind the bridal suite. And he was like, here, I'll help you. And he helped me do my corset. He took my shoes off for me because I could not get through all that tulle. I think I had seven or 8 layers of tulle. I can't remember. But my shoes were killing me. And he helped me take off my heels and put on little slippers, little booties with the gum bottom so I wouldn't slip and fall. And he got me reset. And it was so quiet, which was so surprising because the wedding was so loud. The DJ was really, really loud and it was a museum. So it was echoing in every hallway. And it had been like that for a couple hours and I was starting to get a headache. And he takes me downstairs so he could also get a breather, take his jacket off, kind of fan himself, and then got me reset. And it was like a moment where it dawned on me, or not dawned on me, but it reminded me of like why we were doing this in the first place. And of course, we said our vows, and that was really sweet and emotional. And there were all these beautiful emotional moments. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he actually married me and my husband. He officiated our wedding. I'm the only grandchild that he officiated their wedding. And I would not have had a wedding any other way. If he couldn't officiate it, we would have eloped. But if there was all these beautiful moments. The father-daughter dance was a family dance. It was such an amazing night. But the moment where it clicked for me of like, this is why we're doing this, was when he took me downstairs without me asking and helped me get reset. It was like he could hear the unspoken. He could sense the need that was not being expressed because he was aware of me. He was tapped in and he did something about it. And again, that's my love language, is acts of service. That's what I respond to. And that was what he did. And it was like a little reminder of like, And this is how we got here. And we finished the night. We had such a great time. We finished the night. And I think about that moment often because I just think it's one of those little small things that if you're not in it, you really won't get, but it's just a big thing to me. But we have a lot of those moments where I'm often reminded of like, he can hear the unspoken. And so I say that to say, I love hearing about people who are really in love with each other. And it's great when you're young. It's all fun and exciting. But when you have a grown ass woman and a grown ass man fully in love, hearing them talk about it from a place of we have real bills and responsibilities and we still are madly in love with each other, it hits a little different. So this was probably my favorite part of the interview. And I mean, I can't show the whole thing here, but it's on Drew Barrymore's YouTube channel and I have the full interview on my Patreon. But I suggest going back and watching everything she said in that segment. It was beautiful.
Okay, what's your favorite thing that you see in your kids that you go, oh, that's their dad?
Some of the words that they still say with a British accent, so they'll say zebra. I have these little moments where it comes out, because they have very American accents, but they say words that are just like him, and I think it's adorable. The show was first going to be called A Legal Mind, meaning like a play on illegal mind, a legal mind, and then it got changed at the last minute to Suits for both reasons, for lawsuits and for the fashion. There was this sweet card from my kids and my husband saying, we're so proud of you, Mama, and congrats on the show, and felt so loved. So that he had planned it in advance to make sure it was there when I got to my hotel room.
This was such a great interview. And Drew Barrymore is an excellent interviewer. I love her as a host. She is so warm and endearing. And she clearly makes her guests really comfortable to where they feel like they can open up. But it's great to see Meghan beaming with joy, of course, happy, relaxed, and clearly she is being loved on and loved out loud. Now, here's something that I will say. Meghan is not making it any easier for the people who dislike her to like her. And I love that. I love that. You will not see me sulk. I don't need your validation or approval. I will absolutely dare to be happy out loud. And they are sick. And I love it even more because of that. Do you know how pissed they are that they don't get to see her sulk or be sad or need their approval or need their attention? And the fact that she dares to be loved out loud by her very handsome, very rich, very successful, and very, very sweet husband. Oh yeah, and he just so happens to be Princess Diana's son. I mean, they are sick about it. And you know what? She absolutely deserves, because they are equally yoked. He gets so much, so all of that and then more from Meghan as well. So I just thought that was so adorable that, one, she shared those very sweet family moments, and two, that she actually took time to really talk more about her and Harry's relationship, because we can see, I mean, we have eyes, we can clearly see they're in love, but hearing those open and loud declarations of love and adoration, I don't know, that just does something to me. I love that. Y'all know I love love. I am a softie at heart. And I loved that. I love hearing when people are equally yoked and when people find their one. I love hearing them talk about it. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, can you quit talking about your man? No, talk about your man, talk about your lady to me. I love love. So I love that she shared that. But when she was talking about Harry and how he clearly loves her out loud, he treats her so well, I was thinking, ooh, I know they are grinding those little brown teeth over on that island. There's a bunch of brown sawdust at their feet right now. Because you know they are watching and they're having to go back to their spouses who they can't stand or who they had to get married to, people that they don't like at all. And they have to go and sneak around in their rose bush for any kind of miniature satisfaction. And here we are with Harry and Meghan just like, yeah, we love each other and we chose each other and we would choose each other every single day if given the opportunity. We're counting our blessings. I know that's right. I absolutely love. This was a wonderful interview. So did you guys get a chance to catch the interview? And if you haven't, it's available on Drew Barrymore's YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description box below under sources so that once this video is over, you can just click it and go right to it if you haven't seen it yet. But for those who have seen it, what were your thoughts? What were your takeaways? I didn't mention everything so that we can have dialogue in the comment section. So feel free to let me know what your takeaways were as well. So now that we've covered this amazing interview, and go Meghan, what a great interview, what a great show. You are having the week of your life. This is an amazing, amazing week. But now we have to talk about the media's reception of Meghan's show With Love on Netflix. Now, like I said earlier, the critics have done exactly what we thought they would. They've gone out of their way to try to be as ugly as possible. Let them do their thing. We don't care. We don't play in the mud with them. But when I went to the actual audience, the actual viewers, even people who were on the fence, people who don't consider themselves Sussex Squad or who aren't even invested in any way in Harry and Meghan's story, people who are simply watching Netflix, I went to a lot of their posts, a lot of their essays, a lot of their feedback, and it was all positive. Now, I'm not surprised, but what I am happy about, what I am excited about, and what I am a little bit surprised about is the fact that they took the time to share that. Because a lot of people will like something and go on about their business. But again, the tide has turned. People are tired of the bullying. I think a lot of people didn't realize how bad and how rampant the bullying actually was. But it's gone on for this long, and it's given it actually a lot more time for people to recognize how toxic it is and want to use their own voice, use their own platform, use their own skills to push back and against that. Meghan doesn't deserve the unnecessary hate she gets. And the fact that so many trolls flocked to the rating websites to rate it negatively, it says a lot more about them, the hate train started by the royal family and the ridiculous, toxic British tabloid media, and how far that reverberates. But one thing they cannot do is stop our girl. She will shine no matter what. I was actually rewatching Beyonce Bowl. I watch it when I work out. And there was a moment where she says,
"Those petty ones can't touch me. Why? Because I'm a clever girl."
And you know what? I immediately thought about Meghan, because those people have tried to be petty and rude and nasty, vindictive and dangerous towards her, and they have not been able to stop her. And she continues to push back just simply by being herself and getting her bag. And I love that for her. She is such a boss, but with a great heart. Oh, I love it. The first article I want to read, and I only have 4 that I want to read. But the first one I want to read is from Glamour, and it's titled, "Actually, With Love Meghan is a perfect show for 2025. The internet has come for the Netflix series, which debuted earlier this week, calling it out of touch, performative, and tone deaf. I'd argue the fantasy of the show is part of its charm." This was written by Natasha Perlman, which I love this photo. I use it a lot now. I'm 3 episodes into With Love Meghan, Meghan the Duchess of Sussex's long-awaited Netflix show, and I'm just going to come out and say it. 1, I love it, and 2, anybody who would turn down a stay at the Duchess of Sussex's house after watching this is probably lying. Girl, you know they are. To me, a self-confessed lifestyle TV addict, With Love Meghan is one of the coziest, that's aptly named, and most escapist television watching experiences of 2025 so far. What's not to love about the Montecito landscape or the ASMR-inducing scene when Meghan and her beekeeper are filmed double straining their freshly harvested golden honey dripping indulgently down into a bowl, or the soothing sounds of Meghan's voice as she walks you through her favorite ways to make a houseguest feel spoiled and special. It's like getting wrapped in a warm hug, and I'm truly here for it, especially right now. When the daily news cycle moves so fast, it can feel like an assault on your senses. Yep. I'm aware that this is an unpopular opinion. It's actually not. Critics from around the world have piled in with snarky and oftentimes outright digs at the show. Even The Economist, now hold on, The Economist has been known to be quite anti-Sussex in the last few years. I'm not surprised they had some negative to say. I blocked them, I can't see any of their content. But let's go back. Even The Economist, hardly a publication you'd think would be that interested in dissecting a show not aimed at their audience, weighed it in. I accept that there probably is some valid criticism. Meghan lives a lifestyle that the majority of us would never attain, and to portray the show as being accessible to any or to all may rankle. Sure, smearing some cream cheese on a slice of bread and cutting it into a cute shape, her suggestion for a kids' party, is a tip you can find in the American Girl cookbook series and isn't exactly rocket science. And the one-pot spaghetti that she cooks in episode 1 is literally just one-pot spaghetti. Although it's not like all the best chefs and cooking sites don't have a recipe of their own, Martha Stewart's one-pan pasta is one of her most famous. But I would argue that the criticism of Meghan, and by extension anything she does, her show, her new home goods line, as ever, has become more sport than valid analysis. It's, quote, fun to find the flaws, to pick apart every perceived mistake she has made, without really ever taking a moment to ask ourselves if what's being said is true or even really warranted. I can answer those for you. No and hell no. Also, it isn't fun to pick apart Meghan. Not for most people. People who have lives that they enjoy, people who love themselves, people who care about others, don't find bullying fun. The majority of people, in my mind and my heart, are actually good people. It's just that the trolls are so damn loud. But please trust and believe, far more people love and appreciate Meghan than hate her. And in this instance, I don't believe it is. Look, is With Love Meghan a piece of televisual genius? No, it's a lifestyle show, albeit one with a surprisingly welcome amount of free-flowing booze. And lifestyle shows are not meant to be anything other than exactly what this show is. Fluffy, cozy, covetable, warm, and in this case, tipsy. No, you're not tipsy. That's why she's feeding you. Do I want to make all of Meghan Markle's recipes? Yes. Sign me up for the breakfast frittata, the one-pot spaghetti, the lemon and honey cake right now. Would I love to give away mini trowels at my daughter's next birthday party? I mean, sure, if I didn't live in Brooklyn where everyone has apartments with no outside space. Do I dream of making my own Epsom bath salts, beeswax candles, and balloon arches? Don't judge me, but of course, actually, probably not the balloon arch. No, not the balloon arch. I made one for my niece's senior table and yeah, never again. It would be dreamy to have that much extra time in my day. Everybody ain't able. And am I enjoying the fact that Meghan too is doing many of these things for the first time? Absolutely. Yes, that's one of my favorite parts about this actually. I find it surprisingly charming that she's not pretending she's been making popcorn from dried corn husks for years, or that she's ever baked a donut before. It feels so authentically unattainable, as most lifestyle shows are in general, and I'm here for that. Not some jackass version of Meghan Markle's life. So let's lay off and enjoy the show for exactly what it is. A fantasy of a life. I appreciate that, Natasha Perlman. Yes, I agree. I don't know anyone who planned to watch the show and say, I'm going to do exactly what Meghan is doing in my own life 100%, and everything she does I'm now going to do or can afford. Because most of us didn't know what to expect, first of all. And most people just go into things just enjoying the experience. No one really goes into things with a pen and a paper ready to take notes to change their whole life to mimic someone else. Most sane people don't do that, I should say. It just so happens that the things Meghan decided to show on her show are things that she actually enjoys or actually wanted to learn, and they all just so happen to be cost-friendly. I mean, she hit all the marks. I appreciate Natasha Perlman for calling out the critics in a very subtle but honest way. And sometimes hearing something from your own drives it home. I hope more media, quote unquote, critics recognize the flaw isn't with Meghan, but it's in their perspective. The next article I'm reading is from RealityTea.com, and it's an article written by Amy DeVore titled Meghan Markle Nailed Netflix Series With Love, Meghan. Now, everybody who watched the show should know now to be calling her Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. With Love, Meghan has finally landed on Netflix, detailing the many different sides of Meghan Markle, aka the Duchess of Sussex. Spoiler alert, I loved this series. Unfortunately, Meghan often draws heightened criticism wherever she goes. However, her ability to create captivating content shines through in this series, making me side-eye the negative reviews I kept seeing online. Sadly, keyboard warriors are who they are, so please allow me to present you with a different take. I found With Love, Meghan nothing short of a solid time. As the rain fell outside, I peacefully binge-watched all 8 episodes in one sitting. My elementary age daughter joined me in a cozy bed rot, and now we both need 88 additional episodes stat. If you have yet to watch With Love Meghan, let me explain why you might now wish to change your mind. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex's former lifestyle blog, is a clear inspiration for Netflix series With Love Meghan. Before Prince Harry came around, Meghan ran a lifestyle blog called The Tig. I followed The Tig, often marveling over how simple and approachable Meghan made fancy things seem. You can access the archives here, as once Meghan became the Duchess of Sussex, The Tig went dark. When her lifestyle blog was live, The Tig featured everything from restaurants, travel, fashion, and visually appealing recipes. On With Love Meghan, her friend Silvertree described The Tig well, saying, quote, "When she first was describing her lifestyle blog to me, she was like, it's like your best friend telling you all the fun things you wish you knew about in one place." If you followed and loved her lifestyle blog, The Tig, you will quickly find yourself enamored while watching With Love Meghan on Netflix. Meghan has brought her former passion project back to life through the series, aided by gorgeous fonts, a white-framed screen, and precise, flowing cursive scripts, just as she did with The Tig. As for the content, Meghan cooks everything from candles to cakes in the kitchen. Therefore, you never really know what you might learn simply by tuning in, which is precisely how I felt when reading her former lifestyle blog, The Tig. Consider me thrilled that my girl is finally back where she belongs, making and sharing beautiful things with this hardened world courtesy of With Love Meghan on Netflix. With Love Meghan offers stunning visuals and eclectic soundtracks, sometimes inspired by Meghan Markle's kids. Aww. Only 5 minutes into episode 1 of With Love Meghan, I already knew that Meghan had me at hello. Music has always dominated my life. My father fancied himself a rock star, and then I married a bass player who also graced stages as a musician in NYC. When my grandparents passed, they left me their gorgeous wooden record console and thousands of records that once inspired my father. So crackly, memory-inducing notes are always playing in the background of my home. Aww. Meghan, aka the Duchess of Sussex, yes, Meghan Markle has a new surname, as we were all cheekily reminded about in episode 2 of With Love Meghan, nails her music choices in this series. When I heard her first few selected songs air, my heart sang for her children. If these selected sound bites also play in her home as they did mine, what a gift this is for Archie and Lilibet. Aww. With Love Meghan offers everything from pop to blues and jazz. Check out this Spotify playlist to see what I mean. And yes, I am streaming this list as I write. Could someone please adapt that playlist to another streaming platform? Please and thank you. Stunning visuals also arrive at every turn, from soft hues on a balloon arch to colorful jams and crudité platters that Meghan's kids enjoy. This hostess appeals to our senses as each episode airs. This series is beautiful, and now I need to move to Montecito to stare at the mountains while sipping ginger-infused tea. Don't we all? Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is a calming narrator, which fits her much-needed drama-free Netflix series. With love, Meghan. With Love Meghan hits one note at all times: peace. If you are growing tired of fighting, raised voices, filthy mouths, ongoing legal matters, or anything else that constantly darkens your screens during your free time, then I need you to check out this series on Netflix. Throughout, Meghan presents as a calming narrator. Not even a swarming colony of bees could make this icon jump or squeal, which I found beyond impressive. I love that she just subtly puts in there Meghan as an icon. I know that's right. I would have squealed like a pig, but not Meghan. Same. She constantly holds firm, narrating the series in a gentle voice reminiscent of a counselor, or maybe even a best friend, who only wishes to find us well. Now you're getting it. As for the content, there is nothing unsafe viewing-wise. Instead of petty offerings, Meghan teaches us how to make care baskets lined with personal touches for our house guests. Instead of combative behaviors, Meghan is happy to take a back seat and work as a sous chef for her varying guests. If you need a relaxing break from the norm, I urge you to check out With Love, Meghan. As With Love Meghan progresses, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, keeps finding her footing, making us lean in all the more. Aww. Meghan is a powerhouse turned non-working member of the British royal family. Therefore, Meghan has to hold many cards close to her chest. The media often harps on Meghan, so she knows that everything she says and does is up for debate with the masses. However, as each episode of With Love Meghan airs, Meghan seems to be finding her footing, causing her to open up to her viewers in large part by the end of episode 8. In episode 2, we learn that Meghan enjoys burgers from Jack in the Box. Meanwhile, her man Harry, aka H, loves salt. So British. Later, Meghan goes all in, revealing that she did not have much growing up. Therefore, microwavable meals were a household staple. I mean, that's the story for a lot of people. By the end of episode 8, Meghan treated us to deeper truths. She opened up about her teens, what it was like living in Argentina and Toronto, and Guy, her sweet rescue dog. Guy appears in this series, but sadly, he has since crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Oh, what a beautiful way to say that. Meghan dedicated this series to Guy. Go ahead and shed that tear. I did. Oh, that is so sweet. Meghan even takes a subtle jab at her formerly royal life, gushing about her new chapter on With Love Meghan. I didn't actually catch a jab. Did y'all catch it? Y'all let me know. What was the jab? Because I completely missed it. As Meghan stated, this Netflix series has allowed her to be creative again after losing her lifestyle blog. And yes, I love this for Meghan. With Love Meghan is streaming on Netflix. Wonderful job, Amy DeVore. Amy DeVore is a former teacher who used reality television as a form of escapism, during her decade spent in the classroom. Wow. Well, Amy, I appreciate your recap. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for writing this. This is beautiful. Y'all, let me know what you thought about Amy's article. Opinion piece, Meghan the Duchess of Sussex nailed Netflix series With Love Meghan. Y'all let me know what you thought about that in the comment section below. The next article is from Los Angeles Eater, and it's number 3 of 4 that we're going to read. And I picked these 4 articles because they each offer a different perspective, but each of the writers gravitated to something different about the show and loved something different about the show. So I thought it would be fun to read different perspectives. So again, this is an LA Eater. Meghan Markle's new Netflix show proves she's still an LA girl at heart. The Duchess of Sussex shares her devotion to Los Angeles' roadside fruit stands, local donuts, and Korean culture. This was written by Mona Holmes. On March 4th, Netflix released Meghan Markle's, Meghan Sussex's, cooking and lifestyle show With Love Meghan. Initially slated for a January release, the show was delayed for nearly 2 months due to the Eaton and Palisades wildfires. Following its premiere, one thing is clear: the Duchess of Sussex has placed her California roots on full display. She always does. The series, in fact, is a love letter to Los Angeles, even if it was filmed up in North Montecito, California, where Meghan lives with her family. Of course, there's a stunning, and rented for the show's shoot, Central Coast home as her backdrop, pricey ingredients, designer clothing, expensive jewelry, and a garden that rivals the Huntington. Production-wise, With Love is directed by Michael Steed, an Emmy Award-winning producer for Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. Unsurprisingly, famous faces can be found throughout the show, with appearances from actor Mindy Kaling and LA-raised chef Roy Choi. But no matter who appears, the discussions regularly flow back to Los Angeles' ultra-prismatic, near-undefinable culture. With Love Meghan hasn't lived without its critics, with some of the harshest criticisms coming even before the show aired. Not surprising, and I love that they noted that. Since stepping away from their royal duties in 2020, Meghan and Harry, along with their 2 children, Archie and Lily, have settled into civilian life in Montecito and quietly begun to build full lives here, away from the stifling imperial gaze of the British monarchy and the tabloid press that abets it. Fittingly, Eater LA has decided to approach the show with a Los Angeles-centric lens. Here are 5 Southern California-filled moments from With Love Meghan that show the Duchess is still at heart an LA girl through and through. Aww. Meghan's childhood fast food memories are intricately tied to California. In episode 2, as Meghan prepares finger sandwiches and an arched rainbow fruit salad for an idyllic kids' tea party setup with actor and producer Mindy Kaling, she discusses her experiences as a latchkey kid in Los Angeles, a cohort of children who came home from school to empty houses as their parents finished their workdays. That included hungry man dinners as well as fast food meals from California-born chains like Taco Bell. She used to eat the chain's Mexican pizza with extra fire sauce. And Jack in the Box. Her mother Doria loved the tacos there, she tells Kaylee. She cites some nostalgia around El Pollo Loco, which was founded in Sinaloa, Mexico, but whose U.S. operations are now planted in Costa Mesa in Orange County. We also know that she and Prince Harry are fans of California icon In and Out. If anything, the scene demonstrates, whether intentionally or not, how normal of an LA childhood Meghan had. Drive-through visits and television dinners firmly ingrained in her memories. Wow. She's clearly proud of her Angelino upbringing. Early in the series' third episode, Meghan says so many people have an idea of what Angelinos are like, but they don't know people who are actually from here. Aptly titled Two Kids from LA, Choi and Meghan chat about their love of roadside fruit stands, easily identifiable by their rainbow beach umbrellas, where slices of fruits and vegetables of choice, think watermelon, pineapple, mango, jicama, and more, are served with lime juice, chamoy, and Tajin seasoning. I'm sure I did not say that correctly. Sorry, you guys. Choi and Meghan prepare a watermelon kimchi inspired by these Los Angeles fruteros. Oh gosh, this is killing me. I'm going to start that whole sentence back over. You know what? We're aiming for joy, not perfection. Oh, I took something away. Choi and Meghan prepare a watermelon kimchi inspired by these Los Angeles fruteros and Korean-style fried chicken served 3 ways, with a Thai-influenced sweet sauce, a Korean Thai crying tiger sauce mashup, and a dry rub comprised of salt, MSG, cayenne, ankle powder, cumin, and bouillon. In Los Angeles, donuts are royalty. Meghan knows this. Well, one royal begets another. In a city where cotton candy-colored pink boxes only mean one thing, Randy's Donuts and Yum Yum Donuts get name-dropped as 2 of Choi and Meghan's favorite shops. As someone from East Texas, specifically Mount Pleasant, I have a few people who watch who've been in Mount Pleasant. Those of you who watch, you already know it's all about donuts, etc. And yes, it's donuts, etc. But for some reason, everybody just calls it donuts, etc. But anyway, those are some of the best donuts in the whole wide world. Meghan correctly guesses where Choi went when he tells her he stopped for donuts before the airport earlier that week. Meghan, who grew up near Fountain and Highland Avenues, shares that Yum Yum on Highland and Melrose was a regular stop on her way to school at Immaculate Heart High School and Middle School near the Griffith Park Observatory. Choi, whose cousins attended Loyola High School, admits to attending dances at Meghan's high school. Meghan prepares baked donuts for Choi before his arrival, saying, as she mixes the batter, donuts in general just remind me of my childhood. She says she even worked at a donut shop briefly growing up. The Duchess has a lot of love for Koreatown. That was also very clear during Archetypes as well. Meghan and Choi reminisce about the Koreatown of their youth, including, for Meghan, trips with her mother to Koreatown's plentiful Korean spas and restaurants. That's a really powerful thing as a young girl to see culturally, says Meghan. Multi-generations all enjoying this spa experience. Choi chimes in about dining after a Korean spa visit. They all have amazing restaurants and you sit down and you eat. As Choi later reflects on his time as an LA dance crew member, Meghan shares musings on her past nightlife escapades. The best thing about Koreatown was that you could go to all age clubs and karaoke bars, she says. Meghan feels deeply connected to the communities where she grew up. Korean is the 3rd most widely spoken language in Los Angeles, while over 50% of the city's population speaks Spanish. Meghan is fluent in Spanish, which she demonstrates while preparing focaccia with Delfina Blaquier, the wife of the polo player Nacho Figueras in episode 4, Love is in the Details. In episode 6, while slicing plantains to fry into chips, Meghan declares emphatically, I love Mexican food. I'm from LA. It's part of our culture. At one point, she even references an asada at our house, meaning a carne asada backyard gathering, which are powerful Mexican-American community anchors. The Duchess can also speak a phrase or two in Korean, which she tells Choi in episode 3 to grow up with so many Korean friends, and then outside of hearing Annyeong Hasko, I'm so sorry I'm not saying that correctly. What did I hear more from their moms? Hajima. The former translates from Korean to hello in English, while the latter means stop it or don't do it. Yes, they explain that in the episode too. There's no question that Los Angeles and more broadly California are indelibly part of who Meghan is and has become. Quote, when I lived in Argentina, I think the reason I loved it so much is it reminded me of California in a lot of ways, she tells Delphina. Where you have the mountains, you have the joy of life. Wow. What a beautiful article. Thank you so much, LA or Los Angeles Eater, excuse me. I really appreciate that they took this approach to it. I love that they covered a lot of bases right from the onset, but I love that they talked about how much Meghan clearly loves Los Angeles and California as a whole, but how much it's influenced her and made her who she is as a woman today. I love this review. It's very unique and it's very specific, and I definitely resonated with it. I could absolutely see the influences of Los Angeles throughout the show and everything Meghan does, even her royal crest. I remember that it was a thing that she included elements from California, which I always thought that was so beautiful. It's important to always know who you are and where you come from and be proud of that. And she's absolutely proud of who she is. Good for you, Meghan. For our last article, and my favorite, it's coming from Bacon Magazine, and it's written by Andrea Harris Walker. I found this because I actually follow Andrea Harris Walker. I did not know that she was a writer. I followed her on Threads because I liked her threads or posts or whatever. I'm so tempted to call them tweets, but I liked some of the things that she was tweeting about or threading about. I don't know how do you say it, but anyway, her posts were really interesting to me. And then lo and behold, today she's just like, hey, I wrote an article on the timeline, and I happened to see Meghan's picture, and I'm like, oh no, hopefully I haven't accidentally followed somebody who's on the fence, because that's happened before where I'm like, you say a lot of other nice things and then you come to Meghan and you say awful stuff. But turns out she was right. I was right about following her. She was the same person. So she wrote this article and I was taken aback by it. I just thought it was so great and I knew you guys would love it. Now, if you are on Threads, please go follow Andrea Harris Walker. And you can also probably find her socials at the bottom of the article. And this article will be linked in the sources section in the description box below. The title of this article is With Love, Meghan, a story of grace, intentionality, and effortless elegance. Netflix's With Love, Meghan is a breath of fresh air. In a world that often tries to define Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, through relentless scrutiny and controversy, this series does something radical. It simply allows her to be. And in doing so, it offers a stunning, intentional, and deeply personal portrait of a woman who has gracefully stepped into her own. From the first frame, the series welcomes viewers into Meghan's world, a space infused with warmth, thoughtful details, and a kind of effortless sophistication that only someone with an eye for beauty and meaning could create. Whether she's preparing a meal, setting a table, or curating a moment of relaxation for a beloved friend, With Love, Meghan is a testament to the power of intentional living. The art of thoughtful living. With Love, Meghan is rich with moments that showcase her intentionality. The series doesn't rely on grand spectacles or unnecessary theatrics. Instead, it highlights the beauty in the details, Meghan's ability to make even the simplest acts feel special. When she prepares a lemon cake, she doesn't just follow a recipe. She gathers lemons from her own garden, adds homemade preserves, and garnishes the dish with fresh raspberries. It's an act of love, a reflection of her thoughtfulness, and a symbol of how she approaches life, with care, with creativity, and with heart. The show opens up with Meghan crafting a custom bath salt blend for her dear friend Daniel Martin, who her children, affectionately call Uncle Danny. She infuses Epsom salt and Himalayan salt, creating a soothing and restorative mixture. It's not just a gift, it's a gesture of care, a reminder that luxury isn't about extravagance, it's about making the people you love feel seen, nurtured, and cherished. A Duchess by any other name. At this point in her life, Meghan is defining her own identity, and that includes how she chooses to be addressed. While cooking and reminiscing about all the fast food she used to eat, she shares a lighthearted moment with her friend Mindy Kaling. Mindy refers to her by her maiden name, prompting Meghan to gently remind her of her official family name, Sussex. She expresses how she honors it because it is the name she shares with her husband, Prince Harry, and their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Somehow, that simple acknowledgement sent social media into a frenzy, with speculation running wild. But in that moment, there was no drama, just two friends sharing a conversation. Mindy was overjoyed with Meghan's outlook and sentiment, and the two moved right along like two peas in a pod, or two peas on that crudité. This is a woman who understands the weight of her name, not just as a title, but as a reflection of the unity she has created with her family. The moment is neither pompous nor self-important. It's simply a matter of fact. Meghan is no longer the person the world thought they knew. She is exactly who she was meant to be. Y'all see why this is my favorite? Culinary Conversations with Chef Roy Choi. In the third episode of With Love, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex invites renowned chef Roy Choi into her kitchen to prepare Korean fried chicken. Chef Choi is a pivotal figure in Los Angeles' culinary scene, is celebrated for pioneering the gourmet food truck movement with his Koji BBQ trucks, which blend Korean and Mexican flavors. That sounds really good. Have y'all ever had that? Y'all let me know if you've eaten at Koji BBQ. I'm really interested. As they cook, Meghan and Chef Choi delve into the complex history of monosodium glutamate, MSG, a flavor enhancer often associated with Asian cuisine. Meghan recalls a time when diners would request meals without MSG, reflecting a widespread misconception about its effects. Chef Choi explains that this aversion was rooted in racism against Asian communities, particularly targeting Chinese restaurants. He notes that contemporary food culture has become more informed, with fewer people harboring unfounded fears about MSG. I did not know that until this episode, actually, of why that misconception happened. The more you know. This candid conversation underscores Meghan's commitment to addressing racial biases and promoting cultural understanding. By highlighting the unjust stigmatization of MSG, they shed light on broader issues of discrimination faced by Asian communities. Through the universal language of food, Meghan and Chef Choi encourage viewers to reflect on and challenge these prejudices, fostering a more inclusive and informed society. Effortless elegance and relatable style. Meghan has long been known for her impeccable style, and in With Love, Meghan, she once again strikes the perfect balance between high fashion and accessibility. She pairs Zara pants with a Laurel Piana knit top and a Jenny Kane sweater, effortlessly blending luxury with relatability. This is a woman who understands style beyond labels. She knows that true elegance isn't just about wearing expensive clothes, it's about the way you carry yourself, the confidence you exude, and the authenticity with which you present yourself to the world. Meghan embodies all of this effortlessly, proving that sophistication and approachability can coexist. Why Meghan frustrates the masses, and why it doesn't matter. I know that's right. Critics will always find something to pick apart when it comes to Meghan. They claim she's too polished, too curated, too perfect. But what they fail to acknowledge is that she is simply herself. If she were chaotic and unfiltered, she'd be ridiculed for being unserious. If she bared her soul too much, she'd be accused of oversharing. The real issue isn't Meghan. It's people's discomfort with a Black woman existing in a space of refinement, luxury, and power without needing their validation. Go ahead and preach, Andrea. She has a prince, a family, a beautiful home, and the freedom to create a life that is entirely her own. How dare she, right? She can entertain friends with intimate dinners, set a table with beeswax candles and linen napkins, and pour love into every detail. Because she has built a world where she can. And for some, that is unsettling, and that's their problem. But Meghan doesn't need permission to live well. She has already chosen joy over public approval, peace over chaos, and softness over struggle. A show worth watching, a woman worth celebrating. At its core, With Love, Meghan is a masterclass in intentional living. It's a reminder that Black women deserve ease, luxury, and the right to simply exist without justification. That was absolutely beautiful. And here's the last line that I love the most. For those watching with open hearts, the series is a love letter to grace, thoughtfulness, and self-assurance. That is amazing. You see why this was my favorite? Once again, that was written by Andrea Harris Walker. She's the editor-in-chief of Bacon Magazine. I have actually never heard of Bacon Magazine before I saw this article. I am actually subscribing today. I am so impressed. And again, please follow Andrea Harris Walker on social media if you can, and feel free to share this article as much as you can. I love giving articles like this as much traction and web traffic as possible. She absolutely knocked it out of the park. Excellent article. I just wanted to take a super short break to say, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you are interested, feel free to participate in the live chat going on now, or feel free to leave a comment if you do not wish to engage in the live chat. Once again, I know I do this all the time. I'm enjoying a channel, I'm enjoying the video, I'm just having a great time, and I completely forget to hit subscribe. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you wish, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so that the algorithm on YouTube knows that you like my content. Now, let's get back to the show. It's great to know that With Love Meghan affected so many people, and so many people took from it the same things that we did and took new things away from it. It has something for everyone. And like Andrea Harris Walker said, for those watching with an open heart, you absolutely enjoyed it. It's a wonderful piece of content. It's a wonderful project. And it also shows so much of what it is to be thoughtful about your life, what it is to be intentional about your life. Last week, I talked about, or as people in the comments said, I preached a sermon. But last week I talked about being very intentional about your life. And this was before seeing the show, and definitely before reading these articles because they weren't written yet. But I talked about how important it was to make your life intentional and to make joy a verb in your life, to make joy an intentional part of your life, putting joy and peace and love into everything you do, not just for others, but for the things you do for yourself as well. And I would even say into the things you do for yourself, especially to create joy in your world and to create your world around joy because you deserve it. Being intentional means choosing the life you want, not simply living the life you're offered. And there is a big difference in that. Last week, I did mention in that same sermon, that same conversation, that my life turned around when I just simply asked myself, did I choose any of this? And I realized that even the small choices, I was just accepting what was presented to me. I was picking one of the 2 or 3 options that I had instead of going out and actively pursuing the things that I want, the things that I wanted to experience and the way that I wanted to live. And it wasn't until I did those things that I learned about the power of intentional living. And it did do one negative thing. It's not even negative, actually, it's kind of positive. But the one thing that it did do that I was surprised about was it definitely made being in the same space with people who I'd grown very comfortable being around, like family and friends, it made being around them a little bit unrelatable. They could no longer relate to me. And I guess the frequency that I had ascended to of just being joyful and happy and really looking towards the peace in the world doesn't mean you don't have challenges, but it means what you focus on is different. The parts of life that are enjoyable and peaceful and necessary and speak to your soul and help you exercise your passions. When you're focused on what's important in the world, you leave behind the things that aren't. You no longer focus on gossip. You no longer focus on drama. You no longer focus on negativity in any way. You process, you work through, and you move on from the things that are challenging. You don't make it your personality. You don't lean into victimhood. You simply live life intentionally. And for people who are not in that area or on that same wavelength, it makes you extremely unrelatable to them. And there are relationships that struggle or even fall apart when you decide to live your life peacefully and happily and joyfully. And I would say that's a benefit as well, because you are the company you keep. And it is important that you enjoy the life you live, because while life can feel long, it absolutely isn't. And I would hate for people to live this life and realize at the end, I didn't pick any of that. And so watching this show and seeing how intentional even the very small details of Meghan's life actually are, and seeing how much joy those things brought her, you can kind of see an example of what I was talking about. Again, I hadn't seen the show. It's just so funny that we have been kind of having that conversation for the first part of this year, all the way since January, we've been kind of touching back and forth on that same topic, only for the show to complement it so well. And I think that's just a testament to the fact that it is time. If you are looking for a sign to just turn your life around and aim for something that you love, aim for a target you can be proud of achieving, this is your sign. We're all tapped in, and it was wonderful to see that translated on screen. I know that we joke a lot about the fact that her joy pisses off people who hate her. And we joke about that because it is funny. Because why are you that upset? Like, you need to go get a life if you're upset at someone being happy. But I love that that isn't her focus at all. I love that their existence has zero effect on her whatsoever. One of the really, really hard parts about coexisting with people who have harmed us, especially people who have intentionally harmed us with malice and have yet to make amends for that. One of the really hard parts is that we can get stuck in the why. Why did they do that? What made them do that? Did I do something that made them do that? What did I miss? We can get stuck in that cycle of ambiguity trying to figure out, why did that happen? Or why did that happen to me? And while those are all very important questions, once you realize there is no answer on the other side of that door, once you realize the only closure you needed was the mistreatment that happened to you, and that your self-respect has to be the end-all be-all at all times, you let that stuff go. But a lot of times we can get stuck there and we can ask ourselves, why did that work out? Why did they treat me that way? I can't believe I got treated that way. What did I do? What did I, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with it? We can ask ourselves that question 1,000,001 times. And unfortunately, a lot of times there is no answer, because the answer that's there, they won't share. Because usually the answer is, I was jealous of you. Usually the answer is, I was racist. Usually the answer is, I don't know what it is. You just gave me a bad vibe. I won't dwell. But the point is, we can't leave our peace and our joy and our well-being in the hands of people who cause us harm while we wait on an answer. The closure you need, the answer you need, is the simple fact that they dared to treat you that way at all. And the strongest thing you can do, the best response you can give, the only right answer that you should lean into is that you respect yourself enough not to tolerate it. You don't need a why. Because here's the thing, even when you get the why, you won't understand it. Because if you did understand it, you would be out there treating people the same way they do. So relish in the fact that it's unrelatable to treat people that way. Relish in the fact that the way you were treated, you would never treat anyone else that way. And that's because you have a heart, you have a soul, and you're worth taking up the space and the air on this earth that you take up. And unfortunately, people who treat others like that are not. They're a waste of space. You are a person with purpose. You have a mission here on this earth. You have a purpose here on this earth. You have goals. You have a life to go live. If you didn't, you would be out here disrupting other people's lives like them. See what happens with idle hands? Idle hands disrupt. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. The reason they had time to cause harm to you is because they didn't have a purpose in their own life to focus on. I'm looking at you, Kate. I'm looking at you, William. I'm looking at you, Camilla. And I'm damn sure looking at you, Charles. They didn't have anything to truly strive for. They didn't have anything to truly look forward to. They didn't have anything about this life that they truly savored and loved. And so, of course, when you have this happy, healthy, warm, loving being in your midst, it only serves to highlight how empty, cold, and dead you really are. And instead of trying to accumulate some of that warmth, they tried to stomp it out. The best thing Meghan can do is not make them, their opinions, their friends, their coven, their trolls have any effect on her life. I know that this show was a love letter to her loved ones. It was a way for her to connect, not just with the people on her show, but with her fans who watch her and support her. We definitely felt that energy. But I would also look at this show and say, this was very much a love letter to herself, but not in a self-indulgent way. In a way that says, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to know who you are and live in your truth. It's okay to enjoy your life. It is totally okay for people to not understand you. If you are the only person in the room who understands you, that is more than enough. Go do what you came here to do. and you did not come here to suffer. This show is one of those things that I feel it's kind of like lightning in a bottle. Once the show is over, which I hope is no time soon, once the show is over, we're going to have a really hard time finding anything to fill that void, because it's been a long time since a lot of us have seen genuine, true joy reflected in our content, in the media especially. A lot of what we see and what we're exposed to is curated. It's fictional, and even nonfiction is oftentimes just true crime, just going to be honest, or documentaries. This was lightning in a bottle. It was kind of a wake-up call. Like, yeah, I know a lot is going on. I mean, that orange piece of crap is in the office again. How do we let that happen? There's a lot of questions that we could be asking. There's a lot of things we could be focusing on and putting our attention to. There are a lot of reasons to march and fight in the streets. But when you get done doing what you have to do, this show offers you the opportunity to do what you want to do, and that's simply enjoy a moment of peace and a moment of joy. And who better to do that with than the Duchess of Sussex, the person who is literally the modern day symbol of resilience. If she can get through what she got through, hopefully seeing her so joyful lets you know that you have joy on the other side as well. And you have all of our support. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I hope whoever that message was for, because that message was put on my heart, whoever that was for, I hope it reached you. So all in all, this was an amazing show. We're going to continue our recaps next week. As you guys know, I have surgery tomorrow. And so I don't think it's a good idea to hinge my hat on or hinge my bet on trying to record tomorrow. I'm probably just going to sleep, especially since they're going to have to give me NO2. So I'm probably just going to have to sleep that off. But I will see you guys on Monday. You will still get a podcast episode on Saturday. But on Monday, we will continue our recaps as well as other Sussex news. We have a lot. We still have to talk about the Women's History Month. We also have to talk about, what else? We have a lot to talk about from Archewell. We have a lot to talk about from Sussex. We also have to talk about some of Meghan's outings since she's been promoting the show. We have so much to catch up on. So all of that will continue next week. I know you're probably hearing it on other channels. Hopefully you come back to chat with me about it and hear from my perspective, and then we can have our live discussions. I've gotten back in the groove of live streams. Now y'all can't get rid of me. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's long. It's real long. Sorry, y'all. If you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. I just want to end the show by saying thank you, Meghan, for giving us such an amazing piece of content and giving us something that we can go into the weekend, kick our feet up, have us a nice little parfait or a nice piece of cake, or for me, one pot pasta, and enjoy some nice peace and joy on the weekend. Y'all let me know how y'all spent your weekend if you made any of those recipes. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank y'all so much for watching, and forever thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you next time. Bye.